Good evening. To start the seminar on construction, I would like to invite the participants. Tonight, the person will be and Dr. LD, and Ms. Meera, and also General Secretary of OPA, and also Engineer Ravi Singh. So on behalf of OPA, this seminar what the construction sector skills gap is very important topic for the current situation. So OPA chairman at the seminar workshop and program committee, I all the distinguished members for this, who came for this important workshop. So let me invite our OPA president, Mr. Dolitha Pereira, for the welcome address. So Mr. Dolitha Pereira is our president of OPA year 2021-22, and he's a chartered accountant by profession, partner at KPMG Sri Lanka with over 28 years of experience in numerous global and regional projects. He is a former council member of CA and also Rotary and an avid golfer. And also, I will invite him to do a bit about the OPA and the what you doing.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I warmly welcome each and every one of you who is present here physically, as well as those who are joining this seminar online. On construction, bridging the construction sector skill gap. As you all know, this is this particular seminar's basis is based on a research which is done, and the outcome of those research findings will be elaborated in greater detail by the speakers who are to come. But interesting finding that I came across is the quantum of which is the number of people as a gap that you have, 250 to 350,000 people, which is a huge number in years to come. So 2026 is not a target far away, and these professionals, preparation of a person, preparation of a skilled person to do this job is not an easy task. So there has to be multiple parties who are getting involved and working in unison to get this objective through. Also, another interesting factor is currently construction industry is an industry that is not really participated by females. And a lot of people look down upon female participation, but in time to come, there has to be definitely ways and means of including female gender into this sector, and how some of these challenges are going to be overcome from a cultural standpoint is very interesting. Then, this is an industry, if the industry is going to grow, definitely there will be attraction from the countries that are close by to Sri Lanka. So that means expatriate workers coming in here. To what extent are you using them for technical knowledge? And then to what extent are we really going to be using them at a skill level and a less skill level? So from OPA standpoint, I'm glad that our Career Guidance and Skills Development Committee and the Seminars Committee collaborated and is organizing this seminar for the benefit of our members as well as the general public. And I also must mention, within our OPA, there are 52 professional associations, of which there are a lot of associations that are directly involved in the construction industry. I mean, just to name a few, Association of Public Service Engineers, Sri Lanka Institute of Architects, the Surveyors Institute of Sri Lanka, Engineers Guild of Sri Lanka, Institute of Town Planners of Sri Lanka, Institution of Engineers of Sri Lanka, Institute of Valuers of Sri Lanka, Institute of Quantity Surveyors of Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka Institute of Landscape Architects, Society of Structural Engineers of Sri Lanka, and Institute of Facilities Management of Sri Lanka. These are just to name a few. There are a lot of other institutions that will have cross connections with these institutions and this industry. If you take a profession like accounting and finance, is directly linked with construction industry. Lawyers are directly linked with construction industry as long as contracts, there are contracts of contracts in doing construction work. So we as an apex body of professional associations, we can play a pivotal role in working on some of these gaps with the support of the associations that are within OPA. So we'll be more than happy to extend our support in the form that we could in at least reducing the gap that we have and be able to face this challenge. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Seminars Committee as well as the Career Guidance and Skills Development Committee for organizing such a timely seminar to educate people. And I hope the deliberations that are going to happen today is going to be very useful for people who are physically present as well as those who are joining online. And I wish this seminar great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Regarding the so next is the activity speaker, introduce the keynote speaker, Chairman. I'd like to invite the Chairman Career Guidance of Skills Committee, Engineer Ravi Rup. Senior by profession is chartered engineer, and he is the Vice President of OPA. And the Career Guidance Skills Committee, Chairman of the Career Guidance Skills Committee also. So I invite Engineer Ravi Rup to deliver the speech of the keynote speakers, the introduction of the use of the keynote speaker. Over here, Ravi.
Good evening, those who have participated in physically and those who have participated in online. And as a career guidance skill development committee, so my part is to introduce the keynote speaker. But before that, I would like to give some introduction about the career guidance and skill development part in OPA. It's a standing committee. We are doing many activities in the OPA to give our professional support for the development of the career as well as the skill, even for our members and the public. I think we are working closely with TVEC, Mr. Manjula knows, and we are participating in many activities. So we are addressing for the entrepreneurships, we are addressing part-time, we are addressing many individual level programs. So likewise, we are doing many activities from the OPS side. So this may be the one, that means one point, one event we are addressing this year. Before I introduce the speaker, I would like to give, you can give many input from the speakers because we invited very talented speakers for the 2 days. But one point I want to highlight here, as a country in Sri Lanka, we are lack of data, statistics. Always in my participation for any occasions, I'm asking what is the valuable things right now in the world. Valuable things right now in the world is data. Without having data, without having statistics, we can't get the correct decision. So even for this sector, so I would like to emphasize that part as well. So coming back to the introduction of the professor, so is the very very reputed character. You can see the CV, many pages, but I can't read all the things. But I will introduce very shortly about our madam. Okay. Professor Chitra Vidikar is a qualified in the field of quantity surveying, architecture, project management, and law. She was the head of Department of Building Economics and the dean of the Faculty of Architecture at the University of Colorado, Sri Lanka. She is a fellow of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, fellow member of the Australian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, fellow of the Institute of Quantity Surveyors of Sri Lanka, fellow of the Sri Lanka Institute of Architects, fellow member of the Institution of Project Managers, member of the Royal Australian Institute of Architects, associate member of the Australian Institute of Builders, member of the Alternative Dispute Resolution Board in Sydney, Australia. She is the Emeritus Professor of the Department of Building Economics at the University of Colorado. She is engaged as an advisor or member of construction related dispute in the SAARC region, holding a PhD in law in the area of dispute resolution in the construction industry. She counts over the 40 years of experience in the design and implementation in the construction industry. She is the advisory capacity of many government boards, such as member of the Procurement Commission under the Constitutional Council of Sri Lanka, member of the Construction Industry Development Authority, CEDA, to name a few. She is also the past president of the Institution of Quantity Surveyors, the past president of the Institute of Architects Sri Lanka, was the president of the Commonwealth Association of Surveyors and Land Economics. So this is a brief introduction about our keynote speaker. No doubt that she has a vast experience. During our, that means few minutes ago, she mentioned very valuable case study. It has been implemented for Sri Lanka and is going on. Over to you, madam, to deliver your speech. Thank you.
Engineer Ravi Singh, thank you for that introduction. So let me start my keynote speech. Bridging the skill gap in the construction industry of Sri Lanka. President of the Organization of Professional Association, Mr. Dilip Pereira. The organizing committee of the hybrid seminar, Engineer Ravi Singh. Vice President and Chairman Career Guidance and Skills Development Committee of the OPA, Engineer Saman Khandanarachi. Vice President and Chairman of the Seminars and Workshops and Programs of the Committee of OPA, and all the other members of the organizing committee, all participants from the OPA, here present as well as connected all over the country, wherever you are, right? And members of the construction sector, and invited panel members, including Dr. Ravi Hansa Chandrasekhar, Chairman, Construction Council. Let me thank you for inviting me to give a speech today. On the commencement of the series of seminars by OPA, the discussion today is based on an important topic, namely bridging the skill gap in the construction industry of Sri Lanka. First, let me define the meaning of skill gap. A skills gap is defined as the disparity between job openings and people available and skilled enough to fill those jobs across all industries. A skills gap is considered by many to be one of the potential reasons for the labor shortage. Most people within the construction industry have heard the term labor shortage. As the number of project opportunities arises, many employers in the construction industry finds that carrying out additional work has been very stressful due to the lack of labor to fill the job. Chief Economist Ken Simonson at the Associated General Contractors of America, but job openings are growing as contractors encounter a shrinkage of pool of experienced job seekers. Therefore, this skills gap is a common phenomenon affecting many industries across the globe. Even in Sri Lanka, this skill gap has been affecting the employees in the construction industries for a long period of time, and more with the effect of COVID-19 in the recent years. Therefore, today, this panel discussion is based on the findings submitted as a report by eminent members of the panel. And the theme of the construction sector is perceived as a very timely topic. And I would like to thank OPA for commencing this topic today. The study that has been conducted to assess the skill gap in the construction sector of Sri Lanka. The study has been awarded by the Construction Industry Sectors Council after competitive evaluation of technical and financial proposals submitted to SRL. On the award of this study, expected deliverables and research objectives have been discussed to be in line with the TOR. And it has been conducted and completed under the guidance and direction of the Construction Industry Sector Council in close association with major and special group of construction companies and other stakeholders in the industry. In the process, the deliverables have been completed in consultation under the guidance of the Construction Industry Sector Council. We should thank SRL, its counting on all the stakeholders in the supply and demand side of the industry for helping to achieve all the deliverables identified. Each presenter, I'm sure, will discuss the deliverables so that participants will get enhanced knowledge on the topic and have time to discuss the pros and cons to improve the skill gap for better performance of our construction industry by the trainers in the skills sector, such as educational institutions, such as universities in both the public and the private sector, TVET, and vocational training institutions like CEDA, to name a few. The construction industry is one of the supporting sectors of the economy in most countries. The industry covers areas such as architecture, civil engineering, particularly in the professional sectors, while it includes the contracting sector as well as supply and manufacturing sector, having forward and backward linkages to many sectors in the economy. Further, due to the high cost, high risk nature of construction, the industry is a very good parameter of how the wider economy is performing. A struggling economy sees a slowdown in new projects, a shortage of skills act as a potential risk to the construction and its continued expansion. What is the construction industry worth in Sri Lanka? Construction industry to me is a very important subsector in the Sri Lankan economy. With the changes in the government in the past, the industry has shown vast changes of its contribution to country's GDP. As per the latest updates by the Department of Census and Statistics, the construction sector contribution to GDP in 2020 is 6.4%. The contribution from construction Sri Lanka to overall GDP increased from 934 LKR billion in 2016 to 1.121 billion in 2019. So you can see how important our subsector is. Of course, in the COVID situation, there will be some changes, but this is the actual contribution when we are doing very well in the construction industry. In comparison to the other key sectors, construction sector contribution to overall country GDP is around 6%. And it is in the fourth place. When compared to other sectors like transport, manufacturing, etc. According to the Department of Census and Statistics, in 2020, the construction sector growth rate was -16%. And the construction sector was one of the highest impacted industrial sectors due to pandemic. You know, all of you know in the industry. The specific factors that have impacted this construction from 2020 even to date, to name a few, are the decrease in shortage of cement supply, shortage of important building materials, and this is referred from the skill gap report that has been given to me as my reference. And I'd like to say thank you to all those people who have done a wonderful research. I'm being an academic and a professor, I think that it is a wonderful research report, and I applaud all the members who have done it. Accordingly, the total estimated workforce, as Mr. Veeraparekar said, in Sri Lanka, total workforce is about of this number. The construction sector workforce contribution is 7%. As per the estimated construction sector workforce by the Sri Lankan Census and Statistics for the year 2020, the estimated total workforce was 778,780, of which there is 80,505 foreign employees, 690,282 local employees, and of course, to me, it is really shocking, which I think Mr. Veeraparekar also brought up, to see that there is only 13,966 women working on the construction sector, which is female representation and 9% male representation. All working in the construction sector, and most of them being unskilled workers. I did a little study on my own. We have a little institute called Women in Construction, which includes both professionals and skilled people. So we did a training of 50 women from Gurunagara to Delhi in painting. We found that they were extremely skilled. And they are all now in the workforce in various aspects. So I think it's very shocking. The women sector has not been taken into the equation, because I feel that at least 20,000 women all of Sri Lanka can be an asset to the construction industry. Because as you know, the findings of this, as you know, before coming to that, most of the young males, unfortunately, was going into the business. But of course, there is a big stock rate, and the construction industry stop, ask them not to give loans, and we are trying to curb it. But still, there is a lack of the young males coming. So I am saying that the people who are in the training, Tibet and all these people, must take the women into account, because in my opinion, anyway, the finding of the report also states that 6,000 billion worth of construction projects will be implemented for the next 5 years. Of course, 2026, but with this current situation, it may be a little later than that, but still, 1 million workforce is needed for 6,000 billion construction projects. Approximately 650,000 direct workforce and 100,000 foreign workforce is necessary. I also have done a little breakdown and I know how many carpenters we need, how many carpenters we need, how many painters we need, because I also know that I'm very passionate about this construction industry. Okay. So as the report says, and as Mr. Vinita said, 250,000 to 350,000 workforce in shortage. How does the economic conditions such as recession, pandemic situation affect the skills shortage? The report identifies that there is a workforce shortage. A combination of factors can be credited to the construction skill gap. Put simply, the reason is there is not enough participants to cover the demand. This is largely due to the diminishing uptake of employment in the industry. This uptake varies from various professional groups to the labor skills in the various trade sections in the industry. The current economic environment and the pandemic situation had led to layoffs and leaving of workers impacting the industry with long-term implications, showing that there is a shortage of number of new workers entering the profession across the world. What are the possible solutions? We have to ensure that the construction sector remains stable, and it requires both government and private sector to have a long-term strategy for implementation. It has to have the synergy and the commitment from the stakeholders in the industry. In order for the industry output to improve, employers will have to find the right balance between attracting new recruits and looking after the current. We have to all act and ask for new talent. One of the important factors that I would like to highlight, being a woman, working in the construction industry for maybe 30 to 40 years, the construction industry is almost exclusively male-dominated industry. Not in the professional sector, but in the other sectors. The reasons for limited participation of women in the construction industry, to identify a few, is less social acceptance, sexual stereotyping of the profession, sexual discrimination, gender-based harassment, and cultural factors that still remains the reasons for low female participants in the sector. Further skill gap analysis of the construction sector source primary study further indicates some of the reasons for skill gap is due to nature of the work, hard work in the sun, dust, driving, harassments happen in the sites. Working hours are late. Finally, family commitments, engagement as babysitters, housemates, all these affect the female sector. The industry is not attractive to women at all and has low awareness of the job categories available and cultural barriers across the board. In my opinion, the involvement of women in the construction industry has to increase. When I was in Vietnam, you should see the amount of women doing the light trades, and they are highly skilled and trained. For example, in my opinion, the involvement of the construction industry has to be increased, such as train them in the light trade, such as painting, which I myself have done it and I know it is successful. Then tiling, light plumbing work, aluminium trade, and other internal light trades. Giving them flexible hours and build up their self-esteem. Women will be one source of bridging the skill gap, where the young male's intake is dwindling due to the other interests, and recruiting of women may be an added asset to the construction industry. because women are multi-skilled and they can concentrate on one work. They finish that and then only they will proceed. Because I have had experience of putting these women who we got multi-like to train, and we gave them a certificate and we gave them a workers' compensation free of charge. And then we got them to work for 1 month in various CS1 contractors like Sunken, Maga, ICC, Tadawat. And we had made the engineers there. And they paid them a training number, and then after that, they were paid a profit. And you must see the level of their bringing up that family. They dressed well, they had, the self-esteem, and they worked very hard. And today, some of them are entrepreneurs, and they are also have painting training and taking jobs in house painting. So all these things, don't think you mustn't undermine the woman. It says that in the house, the woman is the one who manages the house, not the man. Man only brings money. The woman is the one who manages everything else. Okay, I'm a bit biased about it. Anyway, right. So women did so what are the lessons learned? Diversity and imbalance in the construction industry. The lack of qualified workers, whether professional or otherwise, is hindering the continued growth. As the public and the private spending on construction increases, resources become stretched and the holes in the labor market become further heightened. The lessening of workforce is very real worry for employers, and failure to bring through new candidates could prove detrimental to the long-term prospects of the industry as well as our country. I have highlighted a few aspects in my speech of some areas brought out in this report to be discussed today by very eminent panel speakers. I'm sure they will bring in their expertise on each aspect and discuss the importance of these issues and help our lawmakers, government, as well as the public and the private trainers, and showcase the way forward in terms of bridging this skill gap in our construction industry in Sri Lanka. I wish everyone a successful deliberation on this important topic.
As she mentioned, 2020 workforce study conducted by SRL and Sector Council and TVT estimated total workforce across the hierarchy, not just the skill level, 788, right? Nearly 770,000 to 80,000 range total workforce. From that, 10.3% are foreign employees, foreign employees, and 90.7% are local workers. And if you take the numbers across the designation and different levels, look at this. I put it in yellow for us to realize. 40.2% of them are semi-skilled. We have a huge opportunity, and we are not in really a dark. We have a resource to retain and elevate their skills and take forward. And 19.9% skilled and 17.9% elementary, right? So when we have this level of huge pool, our task is first retention. First set exit barriers. Not in a negative manner, but in a positive manner, showing a career path. From specific occupation wise, we see the mason and the concrete finishers are the biggest. In the existing current pool, out of the 778, so from that current existing pool is 468,000. From that, 28% is mason and concrete finishers. For the new requirement, new people that the industry needs, 340,000 is the estimate. From that, 42% requirement is mason and concrete finishers. We need to think about where the technology is then. Where the technology is going to contribute. So, like this, still the focus is manpower, how we are going to infuse technology and reduce little bit of manpower also if the challenge is this. We need to think about it. Other than these carpenters, electricians and all the big ticket items that we need, special skills, as Professor very clearly mentioned, we have these special skills to fulfill. These occupations can be very small numbers, niche, but we really need it. What are the skills? Wallpaper designers, material testers, lab technicians, interior designers, machinery operators, and electronic cutters, and the list goes on like this. When the number big doesn't mean everything is good. These places we need few people. We can immediately fix these things because this is innovation. This is creativity in the industry. Then technology. In the study, 70% of the construction companies that we interviewed said that we are far behind the global technology, that we have to adapt. No argument we have to do that, but we are late. We cannot complain for the pandemic because we had so many years and lot of things had missed. So what are these technologies? Skills of global Google mapping systems, waste management system, product sorting system. Give these skills to the young people who would like to learn new things and reason for them to stay. Because technology is part and parcel of the youth. They are born with it, they are living with it, they are going to enhance it. So technology infused to the work that they are going to do will be a huge motivation for them to come in. As far as we are too late, still, we will still lose these talents to other countries, right? So, shall we come to the end to see what's the next step and how we are going to make this equilibrium, the gap, quality-wise and quantity-wise and people that we have. Industry is growing very fast and the project pipeline is really long. Although the timeline is getting bit delayed, we have to execute those projects. Not just in Sri Lanka, there are ample opportunities globally for us to execute projects. So technology is for us to adapt, no argument. We can't have any excuse, which is the first step that we need to put forward. And industry players demand side has a big role to play over here. Youth, we saw discuss about the paradigm shift. What? Money to social status. Technology is part and parcel of their life where we can infuse little bit of social status with our human resource strategies. That will be a starting point for us to attract and retain. This is the equilibrium, right? This is very required, very immediate equilibrium that we need to achieve. Finally, we'll come to execution plan. How we are going to do this? All these things have discussed in very many ways. However, let me put it again, in very focused manner. We have three big pools. One is elementary, already working. One is unskilled, 40%, and skilled. Elementary workers should be taken back to the TVT classroom, give them their foundation with industry funding. My suggestion after analyzing all the qualitative and quantitative data. Then they have a reason coming back to the industry without going to trial show. Then we have 40+% unskilled. Definitely the technology infused and upskilling them is the strategy. No other way. And the next thing is all human resource strategies to develop and retain skilled and then create a dialogue and voice that there is a hierarchy and there is a path, career path for individuals so that unskilled people and elementary people will look up to, they have gone along the journey and they are having a part to play. So this is in nutshell what we have discussed, and for us to retain and attract whoever who wants to and who probably don't want to, but we can convert. Very important few things that we have discussed. I'm going to table the same thing again. Very few things. Rebranding occupation, I think we are discussing with several other TVC and TPTs discussing these points. Providing insurance, safety and security is a major concern. Introducing a pension scheme for the skilled employees to start with, to give them tactical reasons for them to come into the sector and give a solution and trust and confidence to the family members that everything is taken care of. Implementation of RPL, that means I think we have discussed already identified talents and giving them recognition is the concept of RPL, and standardization is very, very important. We need to identify ranking wise good masonry workers, good painters, and rank them and give them a challenge to go up the rank, whatever the mechanism is. Finally, all these things would be short term. Long term strategy would be to enhance the employer reputation. We need to talk as construction industry as an employer to come into. I'll give you an example. Because I can't use any local company name, I'll use Amazon. Right? Working in an Amazon, wrong example, but that is an employer we look up to and struggling to join. Any youth, right? With skills and all that. Like that, most of companies who easily attract employees are building this employer proposition. We give them a reason to consider. We have to do it in two levels. We have to do it at an industry level, construction industry, employer proposition, and companies. So it is easy for supplier sector to attract and give a dream and give a path. These are the employers that they are going to work. If you go and ask what are the construction sector companies from youth today, how many companies they will name? I doubt. Right? So because of that, these strategic and tactic levels, there is no argument we need to go in this journey. We need to start now executing. I think, reviving this data can go alone, but this research is solid and reliable enough for us to take actions now. So with this, I will leave the forum for any discussion. I hope the points are clear. However, I'm here to answer any questions coming from the audience as well. Thank you.
About how we could improve the skill gap by giving certain aspects, certain improvements like technology and things like that. So, in order to start, what I would like is Dr. Lalit, will you say something, being you are the big shot in the TVET?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me for this legal discussion. Actually, Ms. Mihrani explained very well about the Tibet, the construction industrial sector, the human resource development status in current situation, as well as the human resource and industry situation, and he proposed very valuable recommendations to improve the industrial sector in the context of the training and development, as well as I think we can develop some implementation mechanism to how to improve the skilled labor workforce, how to improve the our training capacity in the training organization, we actually is very important. That suggestions. We need to plan how to do that areas, especially now labor cost in the construction sector is a very the difference other than to other difference to other sectors, because most of jobs are we can mention as 3D like jobs. 3D mean dirty, dangerous and difficult. Most of the jobs are many youth are not they are reluctant, they are not accept that job like that job, but in the local situation. But many youth are willing to go abroad, such as Korea. They are doing more the 3D jobs, but they are earning much better than in Sri Lankan situation. Therefore, they are encouraged. Our youth are encouraged to go abroad and earn much better salary than our country. Therefore, we have structural issues in the industrial sector, construction sector in our labor force. Therefore, we need to improve both sides, not only supply side, and need to improve the demand side also. Because the dignity of labor is most important. Because the developed countries has more dignity to the similar jobs, but in our country social acceptance is very low. Therefore, normally our people are willing to go abroad, actually especially Western country, because they have reputations, and they can earn much money, much salary. Therefore, we need to improve our workforce, skilled workforce in our country. We need to apply more good multiple strategy. Not only we can't the TVET sector can't do only that things. We can do. We can develop new courses. We can develop new models, training models, but we can't change the industrial sector, the employer, especially. Therefore, we should have some long-term and short-term plan to improve our workforce, because we need to. The construction sector is very important to economic side, because they contribute more than 7% to the GDP. They account for actually it is similar to global in global level also, global situation also. The construction sector account for around 6% of the GDP. They are similar, most similar our country situation. Therefore, because we need to improve our difference, our strategy of the training, because we are doing some training program, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year like that training program. But our people, the youth are not willing to stay more time for training. They are expecting to move to the labor market and get the job and earn money. That is the situation. Because we need to develop the first modulars according to meet the vision of the students, the youth. TVC will try to do like the short modular based do the modular based training program and dual training program with collaboration of the industrial sector. We already discussed with discussing with the industrial most big industrial firms and the construction industry firms to collaborate with the TVET sector conduct like that program. Actually, Dr. Polnath will explain more thing what is the situation of the NCS development and the current situation. Thank you very much. I hope to discuss again. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv, because I think what he said is very important. There should be a cultural shift, because before I talk to Dr. Polnath, I think as you said, the people are looking at different aspects. The aspirations that we had of getting a job, a good job, public sector job with a pension, all those things are now out of the window. The new people are very computer savvy, IT savvy, and they are expecting much different kind of job expectations. I think Irani was talking about it in a big manner, right? But let me ask Dr. Polwat, who is the director planning of TWEC. In your opinion, since I studied in Australia and all over the place, and what is the take from Hirani's research that they have done? How are we going to go forward? Because what Ravi says is, what is the final? It's no point doing research, no point talking about it unless we have a specific sort of a plan to go forward. So let me ask Dr. Polwat.
Thank you. Glad to be part of this interaction today with all these professors and engineers around us. If you look at the construction sector all over the world, it is always a challenging sector because, as very correctly mentioned by our DG, all jobs are daily jobs in construction sector except in professional jobs. So therefore, there are challenges for us. If you take especially the skill supply sector, supply side. So we have to mainly we have to deliver the numbers we want, right? So if you take elementary jobs like masons, carpenters, plumbers, site supervisors, aluminium fabricators and all that, we have to provide the numbers required by the industry. So we are up to that challenge because if you look at the numbers, statistics, we have trained around 11,000 people in 2019, which we have doubled by last year. If you look at the 2021 numbers, it is 22,000, right? So in December, last December, we gave a direction to the public sector to increase the current output, to double the output, right? To meet the demands of the sector. So therefore, we are up to the challenge. And not only that, as mentioned by our DG, we have to change the impressions of the occupation. So that also we have taken into account. We have changed the names of the certain occupations, like mason is no longer titled as mason, we call it construction craftsman, like similarly. So we have been changing all these titles to attract all these things. So therefore, I think also the industry also has a role to play, right? So they have to ensure that all these job security and a nice work environment and all that. So therefore, all of us have to work together to make this inclusive sector.
Thank you, Dr. Polwat. I agree with the Director General of TWEC, who says dignity of labor is very important. Now, when I was living in Australia, I got my house built in 12 weeks. We got the block, the bricklayer came, right? He came in his van or the pickup truck. He had all this stuff in it. He laid the bricks, pallets on the side, and he did it with only one laborer or one worker. But he came in the car, and when he goes to the pub, he goes to the pub. So that dignity of labor in our country is not there. It is slowly, I'm glad that Dr. Polwat and DG said that things are getting better, giving new names. But giving new names is also not enough. We have to practice what we preach. See? So, for example, in other countries, all the labor, they're not called laborers, they are called craftspeople, and they have a license, they have an identity, they are in the directories, you see, so that they can be, they become one of those recognized people. You see, I think as Hirani said, we need recognition. We need recognition for these young people, you see. And it's important that they become proud of this, proud of the construction sector. So I feel that there should be a cultural shift, and as you say, from the employer side and the employee side, and more also from you people who are in the training sector, who can make that change come up. See, in the TWEC, you do so many training. So you must have call them and talk to them and say, look, this is the best industry to be in. Yes, it's hard, it's risky, but it's very glamorous. I always tell my students, it is one of the most glamorous industries in the world. It's high risk, but it's glamorous. And if you work in it, you know, you will get good money. Even a mason, he gets as much as one of my graduates. But because of that stigma of the labor, you know, there is no dignity in labor, they don't want to go in. So I think what Meerani brought up in this research with SRL is a very good research, but I think the TVET must call all the trainers all over the country and see how we can make this cultural shift, the mindset. If you put a mindset to something, you can do it. It's a mindset that you really require, in my opinion. You don't need money, you don't need anything, but the mindset to call these people and say, look here, construction is the most fabulous sector in the world, and you are going to be a craftsman. But only thing is, in our country, we still haven't come up to that sort of status symbol where even the bricklayer or the carpenter or anyone, they still go to the same pub or say to the restaurant or same, that level of that level has been not reached yet. But I must say, with my 50 painting women, I saw how their level of life came up, and they were extremely happy to be called painting technicians. See, I didn't say painter, you're a painting technician. You have a card, I registered them in the Sri Lanka Institute of Architects so that if they want, they can call them in my own little way. So I think, you know, time is coming to get this youth, this skill gap for 200 to 300,000 to get more as our work, the projects get bigger and bigger. And when the port city comes, where are we going to find the people? So time is starting now to do this, and I think it's a very, very important seminar at this point of time, because we are in the verge of, you know, flying in the next 2 to 3 years. Dr. Ravi Hamza had to go because he had another appointment. May I ask Meerani to say something?
Thank you, Professor. My observation was marketing is something we have to do all the time in our life. I think little bit of marketing thinking across the supply chain would make this change. I think, Professor, with little knowledge that I have in the industry, that would be the observation that I have, and we need to, little things that we need to do, need to be innovative, and marketing is, attractive. Every word, every little thing that we need to do need to create a reason for somebody to change their behavior. So with that, I think we can make a big change, Professor.
Thank you. Now I open it to the audience. Is there any questions that you would like to ask? Yes, can you identify yourself?
I do, yeah. My name is Jana Tavayodana.
Okay.
So I've been working as a human resource manager in many companies,
Okay.
but not as in a constructor. That's all manufacturer. So with that experience, I'm asking that question.
Yeah.
First of all, I should thank Ms. Meerani. She has given a very comprehensive research report.
Yeah.
So my question is, right? Don't you think that now what I learned from you all, I mean, with all these distinguished manners, but the construction industries, yes, as we know that we have a lot of issues, right? One issue is because of now, what I understood is, if you think that if you should take action in school level, because most of school, because I have been in a lot of career guidance programs, right? The schools, students' mindset is to go for white collar jobs, not blue collar jobs, right? So I have been in managed in such a way because I lot of career development programs, skill improving programs, everything, right? So therefore, the workers didn't want to leave the job and join the two three-wheelers. But I found very difficult to recruit, the carpenter, technician, because there was no, technical competence people. So my question is, because we got to, change the school level students' mindset. Don't you think so? So open to you all. You can give, your thoughts, please.
I also agree, that's why it's one of the very good suggestions. The mindset can be changed from when you are young. So I think from the school days, you should tell them that what is construction industry, what does it do, what is the level that they can move. I think that's a very good suggestion, really, which I think Mirani, and I think that's something, Ravi, that we can take in the OPA to say that we should talk to the students in the various schools and talk about the construction industry so that they get aware of it. One of the things, I'm always saying things that I've done. Conti Saving was not very popular at one time. So we used to go to every school and talk to the students, A-level students, and say how conserving is better than engineering sometimes. When we say good money, you can go abroad, things like that to market ourselves. So I think the mindset of the student, if we change it, I think that's a real start. Thank you very much for that.
Yes, Professor, Ravi is working on that. So he is looking after the school level students, and we have planned a lot of career guidance program. And at the same time, don't you think these regulators, especially the governments, right? They are just bringing down three-wheelers to this country, right? So at a rate, right? And they want to, develop that area. To make this, make those people fool, because then they can get their votes very, very easily, right? So,
but I think they have stopped it.
you all have to, take those, ideas to the regulators.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions?
Okay, Madam and the panel, I really endorse with that he mentioned about the school level plan. So I have many things want to input for all of you. I think Ms. Mirani has done the wonderful presentation. Madam, actually we as a country, we must have a roadmap. So we must have a roadmap, maybe 5 or 10 years. So as a regulatory, maybe the body, do we have any roadmap? What I want to emphasize is that there may be many political parties, they can come to power and they can do their jobs. But as a professionals, we have to make a roadmap and produce for them. At the same time, we have to public that roadmap to the public. This is our roadmap. In that roadmap, we will include even school level. I think you know that in the O level and A level, there are 300, 400,000 students come to the market. But see, in our society, lot of students, lot of parents, lot of teachers are emphasizing or targeting for the few professionals from the beginning. Engineers, doctors, lawyers, only few from the beginning, even for a year 5 exams. Why, as a regulatory body, you can't go into that school level and start your program? Maybe initially with the education ministry, then the principals, then teachers, select at least as a pilot project, maybe the 10 schools in the country, then develop it. Good example is, right now, all the younger people are trying to become maybe a singer or dancer. How it can happen? It clearly mentioned the marketing. So, please introduce some marketing kind of things to develop that area. There are maybe many what is called marketing activities we can deploy for the school level. That is my suggestions for all of you. As OPA, so we are working on that. That's what we started, that kind of things. This is, you can see that we face some huge difficulty here. That
had mentioned how the topic is important for the country.
Yeah.
How the topic is important. So over to you. As a OPA, we can work with you. We can give our support for you. I would like to give you expressions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, very interested topic you raised because the TVC as the apex body of the TVET sector, we have some roadmap for the all areas. The career guidance and counseling is one of the major area out of 6 area in the TVET sector development plan. Last days we have already submitted to that development plan to minister to get the approval, and while get the approval we have already established our career guidance, as you know, I think we have career guidance steering committee, and we all the monthly gathering and conducting held in the meeting. Mr. Manjula Vidhanapatana coordinating that committee. Actually, I would like to invite Mr. Manjula. Can you explain what is our step of what are our steps?
Thank you, DG. And distinguished guests, that we are planning that mean, as Mr. Ravi mentioned, that we want to make aware the youth and the students. So with the career guidance steering committee, we are as a regulatory body, what we are doing normally, what we are not in the operational level activities, but we are giving guidance for our training providers and other stakeholders. And as we have planned to do many awareness program, because last 2 years we couldn't go for the schools and due to reasons of the COVID situation. But what we did with the online and those systems, and we have done many activities to aware the youth, and also we are scheduling to do some posters campaign and some small videos. In that way, we have to make aware the youth. I think with the career and steering committee, we can go forward. But as you know, we know, Mr. Ravi, that Dr. India Ravi, that although we are hoping to do many things, but when we get in together, it's getting slow. That means we are all are very busy, and that means even the construction council members, the industry inputs, because we want to get more involvement from the industry. As we, the expert panel clearly mentioned, that the industry have to do big role, that means to attract the youth. So that's why we are discussing with industry even to announcing the salary, the wages, that how much you are paying for that construction worker. In that way we are working, so we have to do many things, and in future we want to work together to achieve those targets. Thank you.
I think we are coming very close to the closing of this seminar or the webinar. So I'd like to thank Mirani and Dr. Purvat and Dr. Lalita Dira and all of you who have spoken and given your comments. So let me say thank you to everybody, and let's close this panel discussion. And I think the OPA will summarize all these things and maybe send it to the people who are concerned so that we can take it forward. Thank you very much.